Hello everyone and welcome to Korea. These world history notes will be for Tuesday, March 17 and Wednesday, March 18. Actually, the first thing that you need to do is pause this video, and on the Google Slides you need to click on this link right here. So you can go ahead and pause right now and watch that introduction video to Korea. Next, on your notes, the first question that you're going to see is, how did Korea's location affect its development? Well, here's where Korea is, and actually I'm going to show you a larger context. Here's where we are, and if we zoom out and go all the way across the Pacific Ocean over to nearby China, we see that Korea sticks off of China right there. And the interesting thing about Korea is it's about 70% mountains. So it's really hard to make anything grow on mountainy terrain, so it makes farming really difficult. So most of the population isn't going to be able to live in a lot of this area. They're going to have to live by water on the coast. So it makes farming difficult, and most people had to live on these coastal plains. So the next question on your notes is asking, how did China influence Korea? And partly, just because China was so close to Korea, it had a pretty big impact on it. They had influences on their technology, and their culture, which included farming methods, military technology. There was religious influence. They used Chinese writing. They spoke the Chinese language. So a lot of different parts of life in Korea were affected just by their closeness to China. So there were three early kingdoms of Korea before it became a unified country. The first kingdom was called Goguryeo, and it existed from 37 BCE to 668 CE. So then you can click on this link right here, and you'll see a video talking about the Goguryeo kingdom. So pause this one, click over to YouTube and find that one. The second kingdom that existed was the Baekje kingdom. They existed from 18 BCE to 660 CE. And again, pause my video and click on this link on the Google Slides and watch this video that talks about the Baekje. Then there's the third kingdom that existed, which was the Shilla kingdom, from 57 BCE to 935 CE, almost 1,000 years. So it's interesting that all of these different kingdoms, they actually existed partly at the same time that the other ones did. And then we also want to remember that today, Korea is still divided. But how is it divided today? It's divided right around there. North and South Korea. So the next question on your notes is asking, which is the most powerful, advanced, or significant out of those three kingdoms? It might kind of surprise you that it's the smallest one. The Shilla was the most powerful. So why was it actually considered to be so advanced? Well, here's a video that's going to describe that. So what I want you to do is list at least two things about the Shilla dynasty, the Shilla kingdom, that suggest why it's such an advanced kingdom, especially compared to the other ones. Here's a couple things that I got from the video. It had one of the world's oldest observatories. They had architecture and buildings that was just ahead of their time. Their architecture showed advancements in math. They had advanced metallurgy techniques. So in a lot of different ways, they were very advanced, especially compared to the other kingdoms. So after those three kingdoms kind of fell apart, the Goryeo replaces the Shilla dynasty in 918 CE, and it existed from 918 to 1362 CE. So what was the Goryeo dynasty best known for? Well, maybe aside from its name, because that's where they get Korea. One thing that they were best known for is making celadon. So I want you to pause my video, click on this link right here, and you'll see what that process is like. So celadon jars and vases, they were prized throughout all of Asia. Remember how a lot of Eastern art was traveling along the Silk Road because Westerners were really interested in it. Then, when the Mongols took over, and they took over China, they invaded and they destroyed many of the Korean industries, and the art of making celadon was actually lost for a very long time. So after the Goryeo dynasty in 1392 CE, from then to 1897, the Joseon dynasty was in control of that Korean peninsula. And they came to power after the Mongols were thrown out. And their legacy is that King Sejong replaced Chinese writing with a phonetical alphabet called Hangul. And he said this language, the language of this land, is different than China's. They wanted to speak their own language and have their own identity, one that wasn't the exact same as the Chinese. They wanted to be their own Korean people. So how does that actually improve the way of life for many Koreans, though? Well, it used symbols that represented Korean sounds in speaking. I mean, we have our own alphabet that has its own sounds. That's why it's called phonetic. They have their own alphabet that has their own sounds. And at first, the alphabet wasn't really well liked, but as soon as it caught on, the literacy rate, people's ability to read, people's ability to write, skyrocketed because they had their own language. They could understand their written language better because it represented the words that they spoke. So it all came together for them. So that is the end of these notes for you all, and we will continue on Thursday.